Next up is CP948. This is the busiest train on CP on my layout. CP948 goes from Brandon to Winnipeg and has a maximum of 6 cars, and its job is to work the Georgetown industries, pick up eastbound cars and leave westbound cars in siding. So as it happens, we have a few cars on this train that are going to Georgetown, and there's a lot of switching to do in Georgetown, as we'll see when we get there. But on our train here, we have the big C630M, a nice Bowser product, beautiful locomotive. With the caboose on the end, of course, we have a boxcar that is going to the warehouse spur in Georgetown. We have a gondola that is carrying on to Toronto. We have a gondola that is being spotted at the team track in Georgetown. We have a bulkhead flat that is going to Montreal. They'll have to get mad at the yard crew for not blocking these 2 eastbound cars together. 3 eastbound cars, because that hopper is also going east. There's another Sioux hopper going east. And finally, at the end, we have a tank car, which is going to the interchange with CN. And it's going to the Irving Oil, but CP doesn't care about that. All they know is they need to put it on the interchange. So we have some work to do. What we'll do is we'll go to Georgetown, stop there on the main, and have a look at they'll visit the station in Georgetown, talk to the station agent there, and see what work needs to be done in Georgetown itself. Grab my controller here, select 4505, enter. Let's go. Guess we should line the switches too. All right, now we can go. You can see how smooth this Bowser engine is compared to that jerky blue box. It's smooth as silk in comparison. So we're going to take these cars out of the interchange here, the 5 cars. 3 of them are UGG for the UGG elevator, and 2 of them are eastbounds, and so they all go on our train. So the UGG spur is way back here. Sometime I will actually have an elevator there, but for now that's the UGG spur. So to me, what makes sense is we can take we can pull the interchange right now very easily, because we can take those 3 grain cars and shove them right into UGG directly, since there's nothing there in there now, and we can also put those last 2 cars on our train. So that seems a very simple move. Let's do that first and get that out of the way. So we detach from our train, and then we'll pull forward, grab my controller, and then tiptoe into the interchange. We did not make a good connection, so I'll pull forward and try again. We'll line up the coupler there. Still no good connection. It's kind of hard to cup on the curve, so I'm just going to give it a little shove. Nope. Try again. Very awkward. Okay, we have a connection this time. All right, that was awkward. So the brakeman will then release the handbrakes on all of these cars. And to review, we're going to pull the whole thing forward. We're going to stick the two rear cars, the yellow box car here and this gondola, onto our train. And then we will go back and get those three grain cars that are immediately behind the locomotive, push them all the way into the UGG spur. So let's assume the handbrakes are released, pull forward. It's a little dirty track here, my apologies. Okay. So now we'll push back our train a little bit. That's enough. We just have to make sure we're clear of the spur. So leave that there. Uncouple. And pull forward with the green cars. Up the hill. Touch a pail of water. No, maybe not. Good enough. And the brakeman will align the switch. He'll look down the spur, and he'll see that the siding switch is aligned the wrong way here. So he'll have to walk over there and fix that too. Lock it, and then he looks at the rest of them and says, "Yeah, it's clear to push all the way through." They'll hop on the rear of the Winnipeg car and tell the engineer it's time to push. And they'll push all the way back. So here they're going to push right across the Minnedosa sub. So there's a stop and proceed here. He has to stop and make sure that everything is clear before he can proceed. What I'm doing here is there's a couple of wires sticking up that the solder came off the track, so I have to fix them. So I'm just getting them out of the way so that it doesn't interfere with train operations. So we're clear. Okay to proceed across the Minnedosa sub. Then we can spot those three cars. Okay, we're in position. So he's going to tie them down. And then we'll proceed back. All right, so we'll assume it's tied down. The brakeman's back on board the engine. He looks at the front, off the front of the engine to make sure that there's no traffic on the Minnedosa sub. Okay to proceed. Isn't that locomotive run so nice and smooth. Makes my blue boxes look terrible by comparison. Let's do a little paperwork and figure out what our next move is. We have our train here, which is now has those two cars here, this one and this one on the front, the CP boxcar and the 2-bay hopper. They're now on the front behind the locomotive. So that's our train. We have these three, which are now in the UGG siding, so we're done with them. We'll put them away. We have a gondola in the team track, which is supposed to go east to Sarnia. That's this guy right here. We gotta pick him up. So that might be an obvious next move. And then on the siding, we have two cars to go to the UGG. Now here's a problem. There's no room for two cars in the UGG. So we can be really lazy and not spot any at all, or we can shove one in there. But the reality is that there's no room for any cars. We've got three cars in there, and they need to have room to load to roll the empties out. So we're going to just ignore these two. We're going to leave them on the siding. We can't do anything with them. So the only other wild card here is that there is two cars here in the warehouse spur, and the question, of course, is what do we do with those? Are those to stay there, or are they to go? And here's the cards for them. The boxcar is to stay, but the hopper is to leave. So we have to pick up the hopper, and that's a hard one because it's on the it's a facing move, not a trailing move. All right, so the obvious thing to do right now is to pick up this gondola and stick it on our train. So let's do that. We're already lined here. We will reverse into the industrial spur and then go get that gondola. Line and locked. Let's go pick it up. Pardon my dirty track. We don't have a couple, so try again. The couple alignment on that locomotive is not the best. Okay, got it now. So we release the handbrake, pull forward, and then we'll stick that on our train since it's going east. Now, what's the next move? Take put that in the right place. So we've got east, 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 three cars for east, and then a warehouse. So we got to take that warehouse car and we got to do our runaround, which is going to be fun. So I think probably one of the smart things to do is take these 3 east cars and shove them into the interchange track for now, just to get them out of the way. Let's do that. Uncoupled. Pull forward, clear the interchange track. Throw the switch, and then once we lock it, shove them into the interchange track and just get them out of the way. The interchange track can hold 6 cars, so that's helpful. And if I could just uncouple, I'd be all set. Now what? Now we have the 3 cars in the interchange track. I'm going to take them out of the train, put them over here. Well, put them right in there if I want. So now I have a boxcar, and I have another, the rest of the train, except for that one. The rest of the train is either, there's the warehouse one, which is tricky. Then I have another east, I have a team track, a couple more, 3 more easts. So I have 3 more easts and a team track. So let's work on those. So we're going to grab onto everything. We'll leave the interchange one there, but we'll grab onto everything else and sort it. Alright, so we're going to pull our whole train forward and try to work the interchange as best we can to stuff as many cars in there out of the way. One thing to remember is that tank car in the rear is actually going into the is going to stay in the interchange at the end, so maybe we should shove that in there first. So we'll pull up here, we'll stop here, cut off the caboose, and then pull forward a bit farther. So what I've decided to do here is to take the last car in the train, which is this one going to the interchange, and actually put it in the interchange. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull forward, we're going to take those cars that we just put in the interchange back out again, and put the tank car at the back. So I've already cut the caboose off, so we can just keep rolling forward and do a little move here. Okay, so we're clear. We got to take those cars out of the side of the interchange. Good connection. Take the handbrakes off them again. Our brakeman is cursing our conductor, who is doing more moves than needs to. Oh, I thought I had a good connection. I'm looking. Yeah, we have a good connection this time. Alright, so put those last 3 cars onto the caboose. uncouple our tank car. And we'll put the tank car in the interchange, its final destination, as far as CP is concerned anyways. And then we can start worrying about the warehouse tracks, which are definitely the hardest ones. Put it there. We're going to move it again, so just leave it there for now. Don't need any handbrakes on it. We'll just come back to it. And do our next move. So we'll stop here for a sec, figure out our next move. So now, sorting our cars, our tank car is done. Put that away. So now we have the Sioux hopper, which is going east. We have the other Sioux hopper, which is also going east. And then the next thing is another car that's going east. Got a lot of eastbound stuff. So, what do we do next? We're going to have to run around the train at some point because we've got the warehouse track to work on, and that's going to be kind of annoying. So, we kind of need our siding clear. So, maybe the best thing to do would be take all our eastbound traffic and just shove it right out of town so we can run around their track. Because I've been thinking about trying to put all the eastbound traffic into the interchange track, but I don't think there's room. Because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 eastbound cars plus the caboose. So, well, maybe I do. Maybe I have room. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the caboose, plus the tank car. Maybe I have room. Let's try it. So we already decided that the Sioux line, the Sioux, and the bulkhead flat are all these 3 cars, which are this one, and this one, the black one. Those 3 are all going into the interchange, going east. So since we're already lined up, let's just shove them in now. No, we can't do that because the caboose has to be on the end. So let's go pick up the other eastbound cars. Yeah, see, my math is all wrong. Here's the problem. You see these 6 cars here starting here, this guy, plus the 2 Sioux, the 3 cars we just latched onto in the caboose, those are all going east. That's 7 cars. They don't fit. So I would need to get them out of the way. So let's make sure I've got everything lined up properly here. I've got bulkhead flat, Sioux, Norfolk and Western, CPI hopper, boxcar, and caboose. These guys are all there. The next is the Sioux that's going to the team track. And I have yet another eastbound. So then I got to deal with this warehouse. So maybe what the best thing to do is to put that gondola away so we can get all the eastbounds together. So we'll just shove back a little bit so that we can clear the siding. Good enough there. And we're going to go put this gondola in the team track so it's in its final destination. We had already left it lined for the team track, so we're good there. good. Set it off there, tie it down. And it'll come out. Now remember that gondola is going east and the boxcar is going into the warehouse spur. So we're going to put the gondola on with all the rest of the east cars. Alright, lined and locked. Push it back. A little bit slow. Good there. Alright, so now we have all the eastbound cars behind in one block, and we have this green box car which needs to go into the warehouse spur. And then we have those two green cars in the siding. So we need to get all these eastbound cars out of here. We're going to shove them all the way out of town. The conductor can guard the point as we push all the way out of town. Okay, so now things are much simpler. We've just got the one boxcar that we have to run around to put into the warehouse spur over here, and also we need to take that hopper out of the warehouse spur. So first things first, we need to get the run around the boxcar. Those two green cars are in the siding, so we're just going to have to run around them, haul them around with us, and put them back when we're done. So uncouple from the boxcar and run around it. So the brakeman's going to line that switch, lock it, and then he has to walk over here and line this one as well, and lock it for the siding. And then we're good to reverse through the siding, which this engine actually hasn't been in yet this session. Grab those guys, have to release the handbrakes. Then we're going to push them down to the other end, throw the switch so that we can get on the main line, and then come back and couple onto the boxcar. Alright, so now I've coupled onto the boxcar on the right side. I've left the green cars there. We'll have to put them back in the siding when we're done. So we're good to go ahead and work the warehouse spur. Now the switch is lined the wrong way here, so we've got to stop and fix that before I run through it. Thank you, Mr. Engineer. So just to recap, we're pulling this car out and putting this car in. So forward. Throw the switch. And then he's going to walk over here and throw this switch. And I'll tell the locomotive to go ahead, and meanwhile he's going to walk ahead and throw this switch too, so that we don't end up going into the team track. We're going to pull past the warehouse switch. There, and we got to reach in and pull that DMIR car out. got it. Release the handbrake and put my big arm in the way here. See if you can see this better. I need to uncouple from this guy. Need a little slack. Here we go. That is very prototypical, needing a little slack to uncouple with. What's not prototypical is jamming a big stick down into the coupler to try to uncouple it. No, we're still stuck together. Well, there we go. All right, I'm going to pull it out. And we're just going to shove it forward and just let it go for now. Just stick it there for now. It doesn't really matter where it goes as long as it's clear. And, you know, it won't roll away. So this time I'm sure the engineer is sick and tired of working here, so he wants to hurry up and get on the road again. Gently put this guy back in the siding. And couple up. Good to go. All right, tie it down with handbrakes. Little slack for release. That one released very easily. Here we go. So now we have to run around this thing again. That's probably a good opportunity to put those grain cars back where they should be. So go forward and couple onto him. We didn't get a good couple. Try again. There we go. We have a good couple, and time to pull ahead and run around this guy. So we need to be on the other side of this car, so we'll pull onto the main, throw the switch, and back up. So we're going to come run into the green cars there, which is fine. So we'll couple it onto the green cars and uncouple from the DMIR. And leave the DMIR there so we can run around it. I can get this coupler to uncouple. This front coupler on this locomotive really likes to grab onto things. There we go. So we're going to run around, and at the same time we'll drop off these green cars. Throw the switch, line and lock it, and come forward. So we're going to leave these green cars back in the siding where we found them. And then we're just about done, finally. Looks like a good spot to leave them. Doesn't really matter, they're just in the siding. carry on forward here. And we have to stop because the switch is against us. And we'll proceed slowly because the brakeman has to go line the other switch to not be against us as well. Go through. Line and lock for the main line. We're done there. Now we just put our train back together. So we go back, pick up the DMIR, and touch. Good. And then we go all the way back and get our train and bring it back to town. Now before we leave, we'll just make sure we've got everything put together. We've got our locomotive. DMIR is next. Then his boxcar is now in the warehouse siding. Next is a gondola. Numbers right. Then we have the Sioux gondola was put on the team track. Then we have a bulkhead flat, Sioux, Silver Sioux, White Sioux, Norfolk and Western, two-bay hopper, boxcar, and a caboose in the end. Verified, everything's there. Paperwork is in order. By this time, we'll just assume that our brake test is done. We would have to do a full brake test since we added and subtracted a whole bunch of cars. We're good to go and carry on to our final destination, Winnipeg. Goodbye, Georgetown. Alright, we have 2 trains left to run for today. The next train up is CP975, Winnipeg to Minnedosa. You may remember our counterpart ran earlier in the day, and this is the return trip. So here's CP975, Winnipeg to Minnedosa. Departs Winnipeg at 16:30, maximum car 6. In Georgetown, it spots Georgetown bound cars if it happens to have any on the train, picks up sending Minnedosa bound cars from the siding if there are any, and it has to run around the train in the siding. So, what do we got? We got the same power as it came from Minnedosa in the morning, 769. That's this blue, lovely blue locomotive here, with the caboose in the end, of course. And we have a tank car. Well, that's weird. Tank car is farther down in the train. It's definitely out of order here. So tank car, gondola. Weird. There's 2 tank cars with a gondola in between. There's a covered air slide hopper, which is in front. That's the BN, the green one, which is down there. This one is the BN one. Things are out of order here. Not so good. Flat car, center beam flat car is second, and the Sioux boxcar is first. Alright, well, we've got all the cars. They're just not in the right order. So let's have a look at them now that we have them. East to Minnedosa, 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 and Minnedosa. So we have nothing to drop off in Georgetown. Pretty straightforward. And if you recall, when we were in Georgetown earlier, we left 2 green cars in the siding, but they're not for Minnedosa. So we're just going to have to run around and put those green cars back like we normally do, like we had to do before. So those green cars have to stay in the siding. So put the clip back on. grab our throttle here, 769, turn the headlight on. Here we go. Doesn't actually have a headlight, so that does nothing. And away we go. Dirty track, away we go, I said. These blue box locomotives, I tell you, they're going to be the death of me. So we're coming into Minnedosa, we just need to run around the train. And, sorry, we're coming into Georgetown, and we need to run around the train. That, of course, means we also have to move the caboose. So we'll just pull everything into the main line, and then run the locomotive around, and he'll have to deal with the caboose as well. Okay, so now we'll uncouple from the head end. Once I find an uncoupler, there we go. I really need to work on my layout lighting here so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, I'm free finally. Come across and run backwards. We're going to run back and connect up to those cars, green cars in the siding. So we have to take the handbrakes off. So we'll pause for a minute while we do that. So what we need to do is get the caboose on the other end, and that's basically all we need to do. So we're going to go, how do we get the caboose on the other end? Well, there's a couple of different ways, but I think the best way to do it is to cheat a little bit. And what we're going to do is take the caboose here and stick him into the interchange track here, then pull the whole train past it, pull the whole train past it, and then push it in so it couples on the other end. And that will do it. And then we'll still have to run the locomotive around. But first things first. So we've got the handbrakes off. Put the caboose in the right place. Our brakeman's riding the point here. You've got to watch the switches there because they may have been left the wrong way. That one's okay, but the main line one over here, it needs to be thrown. Here. Aligned, locked. Push through. That blue Alberta hopper is a really cheap grain car, and it has really large flanges, so you can hear it click through the switches because it's really too big. The wheels are too big. So especially when it goes on a diverging route, you can really hear it. All right. Hopefully we've coupled up here. Got a little height difference here, which shouldn't be happening. I am not having any luck with the uncoupling here. Super annoying. Oh. That's why I use an uncoupling tool, because lifting it up and putting it back down, they don't always get it on the track. Alright, so we're going to, like I said, we're going to take that caboose and stick him in the interchange track. You hear that green car clicking? Alright, now drop him off here. Unfortunately, he's rolling. Alright, back up. Reline the switch. Put the lock in the switch to secure it. We'll go grab our train and push it onto the caboose. Got our train. Okay, to back up. No, we don't have our train. Coupler's offset a little bit. Now we have our train. Back up all the way. Clear. Here we go. Go get our caboose. Now we might be pulling our tank car with us, so we've got to be careful of that. About that, because I think the caboose coupled up. There. Yep. Definitely. So we need to leave the tank car there. Alright, we're clear. Line it again, push it back. So, our train is okay, our locomotive is the right place, everything is good. The only thing is that the grain cars are on the other end of the locomotive. So what we're going to do is we're going to push all the way through Georgetown, and then we just have to spot those green cars back on the siding, and then we're good to go. So using that little interchange track was a nice little trick, so to make it easy. We pushed all the way out of town, we've lined the switch back to the siding, and we're ready to spot those green cars back where they belong. Anywhere there is fine. Let's see if we can actually uncouple this time. Hey, it worked. Sometimes it does work. Alright. Clear the Minnedosa sub switch. There. Line, lock. Now we're going to have to stop and let the rear end brakeman put the switch back when we're through. So onto the Minnedosa sub. Brief pause to make sure there's no cross traffic at the diamond, and through. Alright, we stop here for a second. The rear end brakeman will get off. He's got two switches to reline. You can't see the other one past the green elevator, but the main line switch has to be relined for the main line and locked. The siding switch here, the Minnedosa sub switch has to be relined back to the siding. Both of those switches need to be locked, checked, and then we're good to go. One thing I omitted was brake test for this train. They should have done that after they put the train back together. So we're good to go here. Carry on into the Minnedosa sub. Now one of the problems here is that we're kind of blind as to when to stop. So let's see what we can do. Here's how I know when to stop. I peek through the bottom. And I say, oh, I don't know, out there just before we hit the wall, and then we stop. That train is done. The final train of the day is CN 215. This is a very simple train. 215 departs Winnipeg at 9 p.m., 12 cars, no switching. So basically it just drives right on through the layout. It's just an actor that goes in, passes through, and leaves. It's got 4156 for power, caboose. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 cars, all of which just say west, because that's all it does, it goes west. So, pretty straightforward. Drive on. This locomotive was one of my dad's locomotives. It's probably the best locomotive he had, other than the lovely brass one that he had. And yeah, so I'm put DCC in it, and I'm glad to run it on my layout. I think it's a Proto 2000. Here it comes through Laptopistan, as I've nicknamed my working area. On through Georgetown. Now it's approaching the Manitoba Pool elevator through Georgetown. Then it'll pass under the CP line. Now it's back into staging. Here you can see my tracks are too close together. Occasionally it'll touch. And there we go. So that's the end of my operating day. I want to thank you for watching. Visit my website, www.traingeek.ca. Thanks for watching.